What's up, everybody? We're back at it again, episode number 28, the Road to Strongsville edition.
Yeah, I think, those who are going or those who are interested in hearing about it will be very excited. Those who could care less about Strongsville are struggling for the next 4 weeks to watch YouTube.
If they're not sick of it already.
Right.
All right, wear comfortable shoes, drink a lot of water, be patient.
Right.
You know, like,
I got to be honest with you,
Jesus
too.
Christ.
In comparison to last year, Sammy, it seems tamer. Like last year, on YouTube, last year was just a show. It was like 5 months of it. It seems a little tamer.
Well, you know what? I can't. I just put a video out today, just kind of like, getting giddy about it. So who am I to talk?
Right. I'm the same way.
But so this is awesome, man. Episode number 28. And I just want to make mention of it now because Jason and I agreed to do this. Next Thursday, we're going to be doing it in the actual lobby of Best Western Strongsville Hotel. I don't know what the Wi-Fi situation is going to be like, but I imagine that my cell service can provide as a hotspot if need be.
Right.
It's going to kill my data plan, but I have unlimited. So
I gotta believe it's a hotel, and I mean Strongsville's a big enough city. It's a suburb. You would think you'd be fine.
Yeah.
And my thought behind this is the quote unquote lobby is like really right next to the bar. So maybe we're more like by the bar and then guys can just walk up while we're doing it.
I imagine that it's going to, it's definitely going to be belligerent.
Right. Sure. Exactly. So,
let's see who we got here. We have Andrew, number 1. What a great guest for episode number 28. Doug, the Smoking Joe Wood Collector, has an amazing collection, as does Darren. Should be a fun time. We have some great stuff to show for sure. Stooks is here. What's up, Scott? Just catching up. Craig is here. Three River Card Collector. Beat Up Cards. I love the name. Tony is here. Let's go. Yes, sir. Keith, Lonely Basement Baseball Cards. Peacemaker is here. Eric is here. Jake O'Donnell is here. Jeremy is here. Darren's co-host and needs no introduction. Greg is here. We want Darren. Let's see who is. Munson Child Collector's here. Lenny is here. Lenny is our biggest fan. He always promotes us at shows, so thank you, Lenny.
He is the man. We need to get him on soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Ruben Snyder is here. Dan is here. Matt is here. Jay Hawker, what's up? Orlando's here. Peacemakers again. Just trying to make sure I get everybody here. David, Mike Petty. No crop dust in the ice rink. Temperature freezing to 45 degrees. Bring a jacket. Extra deodorant, please. Yes. Let's see. I think I got everybody because this is just a repeat. But and then Lou Rock is here talking about Judge hitting a 3-run blast. So absolutely. I don't want to waste any more time. Let's bring in our special guest. Everybody knows him as Darren from Return to Collecting. What's up, buddy?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Very good, sir. How are you?
Good. I think the one person that you might have missed is Mr. President Mangini.
Oh, of course. Yeah. How can I?
Oh, now you're in trouble.
I got a Secret Service is going to be on me.
I know.
The hobby Secret Service.
So by the looks of the chat, it seems that most of these people probably know you, Darren, and probably know you very well. But for maybe one or two who aren't chatting away in the chat, tell us a little bit about your channel and you. That's what we do here.
Sure. So thanks, guys, for having me on. I appreciate it. My channel is Return to Collecting. I've been doing videos for a little over 2 years now. I typically make short videos. My videos are usually about 5 to 10 minutes. Typically, I'm just showing like a pickup or maybe a couple pickups. I do a monthly collaboration with Greg on the midlife. We do that twice a month. But I used to make a lot more videos. I've been cutting back a little bit. A lot of family stuff and work stuff coming up. So trying to still roll with them. Trying to do at least 4 a month, 1 a week now. Trying to add a couple in when I can. But I think the kind of the gist of my channel is I like to collect iconic cards, and I just like to. I just love collecting, and I do my channel just to share with other people like what I collect. I enjoy looking at what everybody else collects. yeah, it's just a fun time.
Yeah, I would say so. We met, you and I met at Strongsville last year, and the thing that I love about this, and there's a ton of new channels cropping up right now. And like in my head, I'm still the new guy, but I'm over a year now. But I remember everyone supporting me coming into Strongsville, you know, and it didn't matter because to say the least, your collection is very iconic, and we'll see that when we're looking at the clips. To say in comparison, you know, to some of the things I collect might be a little bit different, but everybody supports each other within this community, and I think that's awesome. I mean, that's what got me rolling. After Strongsville, I was like, gangbusters. I want to really dive into this community. So I think everybody, all the guys at Strongsville, every time I see them, I'm like, yeah, this is the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. And now I'm just a knucklehead just making videos to make videos, so it doesn't matter. But
yeah, and that's my thing too, Jason. I make videos that I think I would like, and I typically go a little bit shorter because when I'm watching people's videos, if the video is really long, I'm cool with it. Because when I go to the gym or something, I could listen to it, or I'm going like driving up to like a meeting or something, I could listen to it. But you know, if I'm just watching it to learn something about a card and see a card, let's do a quick video. And to be honest with you, for my 5-minute video, they still take me an hour. I record terrible videos and spend a lot of time editing out a bunch of junk.
Right.
Lou, I don't drink beer typically, so this is Old Forester Prohibition.
Kind of matches the emoji that he posted, so it's perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, shame on us for not asking that up front, but yeah, you are doing the bourbon thing, huh?
Which is exactly what Lou did. I think Lou did some bourbon as well.
Yeah. Yep, I believe
Nice.
so. And I so want to be a bourbon drinker, but every time I try it, I don't drink liquor, period. Mainly, I'm just a beer guy. But bourbon's the one that I keep going back to. Like, I've got to try this because everybody loves it. You know.
Yeah, we'll work on that next week.
Yeah, we could do it. I'll do it.
Cool.
Certainly. Yeah. So I think it's awesome. We're all going to be in Strongsville. It's going to sway that way a little bit. Obviously, the conversation, but I know we do want to show some of the cards that he has. So are you good to show them, Sammy? Or
yeah, I'm just trying to keep up with the chat because you want to get show everybody. I mean, everyone's here, man. Like everyone came out for Darren, man. Like that's some support right there.
Thanks, guys.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. All right, cool. Yeah, so Darren, so the way we're doing it going forward, I think this makes more sense, and I think Greg does this as well on your chat on the monthly videos you guys do. Is you guys do the scans now, the slides, and I think that works out better because obviously with the camera trying to show the card, it can get a little blurry or what have you, technological issues.
Yeah, no blur. Like I have like a blur line kind of going down my face right now. I'm sure if I showed cards, it would be terrible. So I'm glad I sent those over to you.
Like a built-in crease.
Yeah. Thank you for showing me how to take pictures of the cards without the glare. That was
that was I mean, it's a great feature on the phone, on the iPhone. You can just blur everything kind of, or focus on one thing and then it kind of blurs everything else out. And yeah, anyway, we're not
yeah, this isn't not a technical video.
No. But,
everyone leans on Sammy when it comes to technical stuff.
Not entirely. John 3D80's kid gets a lot of that flack. So honestly, I'm kind of okay with that. But yeah, man, let's bring the cards up. I think I fixed it because I messed up initially, but I think I fixed it. If I mess up, I apologize. But Darren can fill in gaps here if we need to. But yeah, man, I brought some cards out. I figure if you want to go ahead and start talking a little bit about these.
Sure. So this one's a more recent pickup. So all the cards that I that I sent you images of are cards that I've picked up at the National or later. So I don't have any of the stuff I've had in the collection that I've had for a while. So this is a recent pickup from a couple months ago. This is obviously it's the R312. I just love this card, right? So this is DiMaggio's. I mean, for all intents and purposes, this is DiMaggio's other rookie card, right? He's got this, and he's got the Worldwide Gum in 36. So, I love the image on it. I think it's kind of cool how they do the pastel. It's an oversized card, and what's funny is that slab is so big, like it's absurd. Like I literally can use that as like a tray for food.
Yep.
Would never do it, but I could, right? but I just love the card. It's a great card. It's a cool image, and I really dig the fact that his fake signature is he spelled his name wrong.
I love you are hitting my sweet spot right off the bat. Pre-war oversize is my jam.
Where did you find that?
What's that?
No, I'm saying like for Darren, where did you find that? Was that a show or?
No, that was eBay.
Oh, eBay. Okay. Auction.
Yeah,
or fixed price?
A lot of the stuff I pick up, just in general, a lot of the stuff I pick up is on eBay. I don't really do social media in general. I think the only social media that I have an account on is LinkedIn. So I don't really do anything over social media. I do a lot of eBay. Recently, I got into some of like the bigger auction houses, but the problem is with those is I get overly competitive when I'm bidding, and I bought one card recently on it. Well, not super recently, fairly recently, and I hit the all-time high, and the other guy bid it up more. So I'm like, oh, cool. Like, we'll set a record. And I'm like, I can't do this anymore because I just keep going till the other person stops. And it's dumb. So I typically will do eBay or shows. The problem with shows is I live in Colorado. So the Denver show, one time they had a good vintage show last year. Ash was there. A couple other big vintage guys were there. But other than that, it's not that great. I go with my boy, Iconic Al. Yeah. And we went to the last one, and like there was zero vintage baseball. It was just before, it was like the day before the Super Bowl. My buddy's kid asked me to pick him up a Mahomes card. They pulled all the Mahomes cards because they're like, oh, when he wins tomorrow, they're all going to go up. And I'm like, haha, LOL. Like it just, he and I were just laughing about how it was like literally, it was like a Pokemon show with, some modern basketball.
Yeah.
So I don't buy much at shows because the only shows I really go to now that sell vintage are Strongsville and the National. So I do get obviously pickups of both of those, but majority of the stuff I get, I'd say, is eBay.
Okay. Would you consider going to larger shows? I know most of the good shows, larger shows, are out east. Would you consider like Midwest? Like I pump this all the time, and it's going to catch sooner or later. The Chicago Sports Spectacular happens twice a year, and it's a really big show. And a good percentage of the dealers at Strongsville are all at the Chicago Sports Spectacular. Or is that too far for you even, Darren?
No. I mean, I have no problem flying the shows. I mean, I travel for work. So, I mean, I could my brother lives in New York, so I could go stay with him, go to the White Plains show. My best friend lives in literally near Dulles Airport, so he's like 5 minutes from the Chantilly show. I've got some buddies that live down in Texas I could go stay with for the Dallas show. I mean, I don't mind even, go West Coast, to the Burbank show. So I have no problem traveling to the shows. It's just, I just have a lot of stuff going on right now. And, my wife is super cool and lets me take 2 trips by myself to go to baseball card shows a year. And if I could tie like a business trip in with the show, I'm probably good. But if I'm like, hey, I'm taking a 3rd trip without you to go look at baseball cards, I want to find that balance. I don't want to. She's super lenient, but I don't want to push the boundaries.
I understand completely. You gotta push it as far as you can without stepping overboard. Otherwise, it could cost you more. It'd be like, okay, you can take that 3rd trip, but now you owe us 2 more cruises, or now we're going to Europe, or
right. She's like, oh, you bought a baseball card? I went purse shopping while you were gone. Like,
exactly right. Exactly right.
Cool, man. I'm gonna go to the next card.
Sounds good. Ooh.
Dang.
Bat off shoulder. So in general with Cobb, this is so when I first got back into collecting, I didn't really collect Cobbs. I don't think I owned my first Cobb until the National in Chicago a couple of years ago. I fell for the hype, and I'm like, he wasn't a nice guy. But then I've read books recently in the last year, and multiple books about him, and he actually was super competitive, right?
Right, yeah.
He might have been an asshole. That's cool. Nothing wrong with that. But he wasn't nearly as bad as they say, right? And he actually later in life was quite philanthropic. And I had kind of a newfound respect for Cobb. So I wanted to pick up his T206 Rainbow. That was kind of like one of my like side big goals. And I got the red portrait at the National in Chicago 2 years ago. And then this one, I think, was my second one. I picked this one up in November. And it's the bat off shoulder. Absolutely love the card. I think it's a great, I really like the background. I like the sunset. I mean, my big thing recently is the T206s that, I mean, I love portrait cards with T206, but I'm getting more into kind of the artwork in the background of a lot of them. And this one's kind of cool, right? You got the sunset, but then it's bright daytime above the sunset, which is interesting. Not sure how that works, but, I just thought it was a cool image. Obviously it's an iconic card with the bat off shoulder. And I was just super happy to add it to the collection. I think it has pretty solid eye appeal. So that's kind of my thing, right? If I like iconic cards with good eye appeal, and to just be clear, I like iconic cards with good eye appeal to the extent the eye appeal fits within my budget.
Right. Exactly. Because I'm in the same mode as you, and my budget is much less than a 4 Cobb bat off shoulder. So, but again, what you set a price for yourself, you afford what you can afford, and then you try to find the best card within that budget. That's how it works. I try to find the best looking card for, I mean, if I found one that was cleaner, that was a 3, I would have got that. Like I'm not big on the grade, especially as the cards get older. I'm much less concerned about the grade. I'm more concerned about the eye appeal. So honestly, if I could find something that looks like this in a 3, I'd go with that, because that would free up potentially some budget to go buy something else. Would you consider, based on what you're saying, you'd consider downgrading then? If you found a beautiful 2 or a 3, you'd sell this or trade that and take the cash and run? Or are you done then? Once you got it, I don't upgrade or downgrade any of my cards. I get the card, I have the card, I love looking at the card. When I do the initial purchase though, I will look, I'll set my budget, I'll look to see what grade kind of fits within that budget, what grade range, and I'll start looking at them, and then I'll look at whatever the higher, like for this card, a 4 was at the top of my price range, right? So I wasn't looking at like a 5 or anything. So, I'd look at a 4, and then I'd look at a 3. I'd see if there's like a 3.5, maybe a 2.5. And then the one that looked the best, that I thought had the best eye appeal that's available at that time, that's the one I'll go with. In this case, the 4 did look the best, so I went with it. But when I bought it, I would have been willing to go with the 3. But once I buy it, it's kind of locked in. I have some cards that I'll sell or trade or do something with, but they're not the cards that I love the most in the collection. So I wouldn't upgrade them. And the ones I love the most, I've got the card I want. So even if like my budget went up significantly, I wouldn't upgrade any of the cards I have. I would just, as I bought new cards, maybe have higher budgets for them. That's very much, yep, that's how I am. I don't downgrade, I don't upgrade. I've considered downgrading. Sammy's much more flexible in that fashion. You move and you shift cards.
Well, yeah, I mean, it all depends. It just, I mean, if I'm spending an astronomical amount on a card, chances are I'm probably not going to upgrade it.
Right. I guess where I'm going with it is I almost have, and I think Darren, you're a little bit like this. I almost have the hoarder mentality. Once I have it, I have it.
Yeah.
And so that's it. I've moved on. And some of the cards, I look at some of my cards and I can afford to upgrade them. Some of them have sentimental reason why I won't. And then some of them are just like, well, why? I got the card. Whatever. If it's 2 or 3, I got it. It's what I want, and I don't need anything else. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. There was one card in my collection that I really, really like, and I have it in a 6, and I thought about upgrading it to like a 7 or an 8, but then I keep looking at it, I'm like, why would I spend thousands of more dollars plus trade this to get a card that looks nearly as good? Yep. Right? It's not worth it to me. Like, to me, like the grade itself, I don't care about. Like I typically won't buy a card where I'm like, the eye appeal sucks. I do in some cases. I have a Dr. and Sons Honus Wagner that looks like somebody like taped it to like the bottom of a bus tire, and the bus, drove a few miles. But, at the time I bought it kind of at the peak of the market, and that's the best condition one that I could find in my budget. So that one, I love the card. It's very well loved. And I don't think even that one I would upgrade, just because I
it's good enough for what I want, and I enjoy the card in the condition that it's in.
Right, and let's be honest, it's a Honus Wagner, so just having it there to me. So that's my view on that is, to me, just having the card in many cases is enough. Obviously, you want the nicest looking one you can find, but if the opportunity came and it does look like a truck ran that over, but it hit your budget and it was good enough for you, why change it at that point?
Totally. And I'm lucky to have a lot of friends that have incredible collections. And if I want to see some iconic cards and good, like in really high grades, they've got them, and I could go ask to see them. I have a friend I met at the National last year, has some of the most iconic cards in the hobby and incredibly, like absurdly high grades, and super nice guy. I had lunch with him yesterday, actually, up in Denver. And he has, if I wanted to see any of the cards, he'd have no problem showing them to me. So it's like, for me, I don't need to have the best grade one. I just want one that I like the eye appeal of, that is mine. And when I feel like looking at them, I can either go grab them out of the safe deposit box or take them out of the case and just take a look at them and enjoy them.
Yep. That's not the gentleman who follows Orlando, is it? From the National?
That follows Orlando.
The guy, the gentleman who was at, I met a gentleman with Orlando, and he broke out a bunch of 52s that were in like 7s and 8s, and my friend Dave. Yep, that's him. Okay. Because Orlando introduced him to me, and I've got a picture of myself holding his cards, and I show my friends this. I'm like, how much money's in my hands right there? I'm like, do you have any idea? They're like, hey, 3 baseball cards. I'm like, no, that's not 3 baseball cards.
Right. Well, I had lunch with him back in January, and we're eating lunch. We're sitting at the restaurant. It was like a hamburger place in downtown Denver. We've got like fries on the table, like our drinks, burgers. Like, it wasn't like a super clean scenario.
Right.
He's like, oh, I want to show you my pickup. Reaches in his pocket, pulls out, slides it to me across the table. A 1915 Cracker Jack Shoeless Joe Jackson in a 7.
Oh my God.
Did he have plastic around the case at least?
Right. I'm like, wait staff, stay away from the table. Don't knock any drinks over, please. This is insane. But yeah, no, he's just a super nice guy. And I have quite a few friends that have very, very impressive collections. And like I said, if I want to see cards like that or hold them in my hand, I could always ask them, and they're always willing to share. So for me, I get the cards that I like and the grades that, and not even the grades, and the eye appeal that work best for my budget.
Yep. Let's be very clear on this. I don't mean to cut you off, Sammy. You're downgrading your collection like it's nothing. So as we show these cards, that's not the case either. So
hang on one second. I want to go back to something that Doug was asking, if you're going to be bringing anything to trade night. Darren.
I'm not planning to. I need to go through some stuff. I may, but I'm not really planning to.
Okay.
I mean, to be honest with you, if you guys have cool stuff at TradeNet that I want, I'll trade you money for your cards.
Right.
That's perfectly welcome in that environment. Even though it's not like it's not in the fine print, it's always something that can be traded as well. So,
I figured. Yeah, I mean, I like trading stuff for money too.
I would have to assume trade night includes sell night.
Sell night. All right, let's bring the next card. Of course, another Cobb.
So this is my most recent pickup. This one completed the rainbow. I think I really do dig the look of these T206 Cobbs, right? The 2 portraits, I think, look really similar to what he looked like. And I think both this one makes him look like his face it makes him look like he's like a short, chubby guy. And the last one makes it look like he's a super tall, like super skinny, lanky guy.
Right.
And then the 2 portraits look like him, right? So I think these are just it's super cool. It's an iconic one. And to be honest with you, out of the 4 Cobbs, originally I was like, if I have the off shoulder, I don't need the on shoulder, or vice versa. And then, I started looking more at this card, and I was like, this card is such a great looking card. Like I can't even explain why. I just love the look of this card.
Because it's cool in a Cobb.
He's choking up on the bat as well.
Yep. It's got those club looking bats back in the day. Yeah. Plus, I learned this recently, and I probably should have known this, but I didn't. This Cobb, the on shoulder, this one is nearly as rare as the green. The green is the rarest, but this one's nearly as rare, and I didn't realize that.
Are backs in consideration for you, Darren, or you don't care about the backs?
Like a sign bat?
No, the backs of the T206.
Oh, the backs. Sorry. No, they're not. So so I'll put it this way: for the iconic T206s, I'll take them. However, for other T206s, I've got some over here. If there's, and we'll see if there's glare. If there's glare, I'll stop showing them. But I have some other T206 cards. Sorry about that. That I've been picking up recently that are more just specifically for the backs.
Okay.
I won't even show the fronts. I'll just show the back. So I picked up an Old Mill.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All these cards are grades of probably well, I guess I could show the fronts too. So this is Bill Bernhard, minor leaguer, Old Mill back. My wife bought me this one. The Ira Thomas. This one's got the Sovereign back.
Oh, very cool.
She bought me this one also. The Deacon Philippi. He's related to Ryan Philippi. This one's a cycle back.
Mm-hmm. So for more of the commons, you're going to go for the tougher backs.
Right. So I'll go for the tougher backs on the commons. So here's a polar bear, Billy Portel. There's the polar bear back. And then
is that the best back? That seems to be the consensus with most. Everybody loves the polar bear.
Out of the ones I have, I would say that my favorite is probably the cycle or this one, the Tolstoy.
Tolstoys are tough. Those are tough.
That's cool.
I mean, cycles, drum, Tolstoys, the Sovereign. I mean, they're all up there. Old Mill is up there too.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually looking at a couple that were the really rare backs. I found a common that had a Hindu red back, but I'm like, I don't want to spend $8,000 on a common card just for the back. I'm not there yet. There's so many other like iconic cards that I'd want to get before I did anything like that. But there are some of the like medium rarity backs that I like picking up, and all of these I like because the images on the front of all of them are like really great images. They all have like great skies, really cool background. So I do pick up some of those for the back. But when I am buying, yes, Orlando, that's the next one on my list for sure. But when I'm buying the iconic cards, I don't really care what the back is because I just want what's on the front.
Yep, I agree. I only have two T206s, but backs mean zero to me. I'm buying it for the front and for the player for the most part. I suppose if I was well into the collection, or maybe another thought would be down the road, well, just get one of every back, no matter who it is on the front, just so you have it. That'd be kind of cool. But the front is what it is for me at this point. So
yeah, I mean, and there's some backs where like a terrible grade common is still going to be 5 figures.
Right.
So, and there's some backs that are unobtainable, right? Like the Ty Cobb back. I mean, it's not unobtainable, but it's unobtainable to me.
Let's go to the next one here and continue on the Cobb run.
So that's the rarest. I just love this card. I was really, really happy to pick this one up. It's really well centered. Yeah, the green background is really, really dark, and I like that. I have to thank Greg for this. He sent me a text and said, "Hey, I think your green Cobb you want is up for auction at Heritage." So I went and checked it out, and I was like, "Oh, you're right, it is. There it is." So this one, I really, really love the centering on it.
Yeah, me too.
The image, I think the red and the green, they look the most like Ty Cobb.
Mm-hmm.
And this is out of the 4, this is the rarest one.
Phenomenal card.
Which was this also eBay? Or you said an auction?
This was Heritage.
Oh, Heritage. Okay.
Yeah, this was Heritage. This card, out of all the cards I have, this one I legitimately, without a doubt, probably overpaid for. But since I'm never going to sell it,
doesn't matter.
Someday I'll look back and say, "Wow, that was a great deal."
Yep. In this case, I mean, you're paying for the great centering on a card in this grade. I mean, 3s can be all over the map in terms of condition. Mm-hmm. And I think you'll likely end up more paying a premium for a centered card than maybe a sharp off-centered card.
I agree. And the green looks like it's got some cloudiness. That's actually on the case. The background's like perfectly solid green.
So funny. It just neat. It just what the case just needs to be wiped down or something like
Right,
that.
I need to clean the case. The one reflection it had was of like my fingerprints on it.
Right.
That's okay.
Yes,
Shows
Greg,
you love
you're
your card,
100%
man.
right.
Quit giving Greg all those flowers, Darren. He doesn't need any more. Don't give him. Quit giving him those flowers.
Yeah, I was going to say, Dan has said it best. You have such a great eye. Because, I mean, a lot of those Cobbs you've shown so far have had great centering to them.
Yeah, the on shoulder was a little off center, but the
bit,
registration of the image was so crisp. It was so crisp.
Exactly. Cool, man. Let's see what we got. Oh, yeah, I remember this one. This is a great story.
I love this card. Like if I didn't put my Nolan Ryan on here because that's the oldest card in my collection. So maybe I show that a couple times a year, but other than that, this is my favorite card in my collection.
Beautiful red.
This one came from Strongsville last year, right?
No, this actually came from the National. I got this from Ash.
I thought it was okay. I must have confused it. I thought it was
No.
Strongsville from Ash.
So at Strongsville from Ash, I picked up a 50 Bowman Jackie Robinson.
Gotcha. Okay.
That I do.
What the confusion is. Okay, but I mean, nevertheless, I mean, this is just like.
Yeah. So when I was looking at the Jackie Robinsons, to me, like because it's a 52 tops, right? You can't, if you have it all, it's like a 6 or higher, and it's a little expensive, right? So for me, it was number one, try to find left. So normally it's like centering, but with 52 tops, you can't even say centering. It's left to right centering was more important than top to bottom. So I said left to right was most important. Then the red background couldn't have snow on it. Again, next to his head there to the right, that's like a scuff or a fingerprint or something reflecting off the case. So apologize, guys. I thought these were great high-res pictures. They're like half-ass mid-red.
They're fine.
Like mid-shelf.
We can see the beauty in them.
Right. But yeah, no, I wanted a really clear image. Like registration was key. No snow, none of those like fish eyes. Right. And then left to right centering. Those were the key things for me. And then if I can get it top to bottom, somewhat centered, cool. Corners, I didn't care too much about. So finding this one, I said, when I saw it in Ash's case, I'm like, dude, you have my Jackie Robinson. Perfect. And of course, I mean, I don't have a Leaf Jackie. That's a card that's probably on my list for like maybe next year. It's not on the list really for this year potentially, but who knows? Like Petty says, if you finish one list, you got to start a new one. So maybe I'll start a new one later this year. But this is my favorite. I think this is my favorite Jackie Robinson card.
Yeah.
So I always thought this was a cool card. And then 2 years ago in Chicago at the National, I bought a 49 Bowman Satchel Paige from a dealer, Tony E-Trade. Yeah. And when we were talking about the card, he's like, you're a big fan of like the early African-American players. I said, I am. He goes, can I show you something I just picked up for my personal collection? And I was like, yeah, of course, man. Sure. Go for it. Walks in the middle of his table, has a big like bank safe, right? He opens the safe, takes it out, hands it to me to look at. It was a 52 top Jackie Robinson, a PSA 9.
Oh my God.
He's like, I bought it. He goes, I bought it about a month ago. I paid $985,000 for it. I'm like, I gotta be a card dealer, man. You could pick up $1 million card for your personal collection.
Right.
But he showed me that, and I'm like, damn, I need this card, not that copy, obviously. Right, but I'm like, I need this card. I've always loved the image, but like seeing it and holding that one that was just so perfect. I was like, man, I really, really need to get one of these for my collection. And it took me a very long time to find the one with the eye appeal that I wanted. And that's kind of my, and that's the thing, like it's a pro and a con for my collecting. The pro is when I look at most of my cards, not all, but most of them, I think have pretty solid eye appeal and I'm really happy with it. But the con is I'll sometimes go way longer than I want to before I pick up a card because some of the rare stuff, it's hard to find in the eye appeal that I'm looking for. So I was super happy that Ash had this.
Yeah, I would consider that patient, though. That's all that is. I mean, whether you're...
I don't have patience. That's not my thing. If you told my wife I had patience, she'd laugh in your face.
I'm in the same boat.
You clearly exhibited some patience because you were waiting for the right one.
Right.
You know, it's very difficult for me. My
I
blood
know.
pressure was through the roof.
But it kind of worked out for you though, especially coming
Yeah.
from the Magic's table. Cool, man. Let's see what we got next. Oh man.
So my two side goals were the T206 Cobb rainbow, and I'm kind of wanting to do a Gaudy Ruth rainbow. This is my out of the 4 Ruths. I honestly the two that are kind of the rarer, more expensive ones are the yellow and the red. That's my least favorite image. The green one I like a lot, and like people make fun when I say this, but like, he kind of looks like a pig in that one, which I think is funny.
Right.
And but this is by far my favorite image. This is, to me, like, when I was a kid, if somebody said, what are the most iconic baseball cards ever made, I would have said Honus Wagner T206, the 52 Topps Mantle, and the Ruth, the swinging pose from the 33 Gaudy set. So being able to acquire one, it was literally like, this was a highlight of the year.
And you have a couple. You have the Sinella. I know that, right?
I do. I have the Sinella. I've got the yellow. I've got the green. And I've got this one.
Okay, that's phenomenal. Now, when we're talking about players here, I know I've watched some of your videos, and I know like you did a DiMaggio run. Do you follow a particular, like, is it the PSA registry for the run, or do you just buy cards that you like of that player?
I just buy cards I like of the player, and I've got a lot of my collection. I would say half. It used to be like 90% PSA, not because I picked PSA. It just worked out that way.
Right.
I would say I'm getting pretty close to half of my collection is SGC. And to be honest with you, I think a lot of the more iconic ones in my collection are SGC. And I appreciate everyone's opinions on however they want to buy cards, who they grade with, if they grade or not grade, if they buy modern, if they buy vintage. Like, I think this is a great hobby because you do whatever you want, and it's your call. That being said, though, personally, I think that when you have an iconic card that's just framed up in the black nicely like that, it looks really good. Because I've got some PSA cards that are iconic cards, but they're kind of loose in the case.
Right.
And I have nothing against the loose in the case. It's, they're smaller cases, are easier to store, but I pull out some of the iconic ones. I think they just look really nice framed up in their tuxedo.
I agree 100%. That's exactly how I feel. The only caveat that I switch up, you showed earlier on your R312, I've got a lot of oversized, and some I'm considering grading, but because those oversized cases are
oversized
so big,
PSA
I'm actually considering going
better.
to PSA.
So that's a whole thing that I got into a little bit about how I wish SGC would kind of open up a little bit more so on the oversized stuff.
Yeah.
So I can show a good example if you give me like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Over here. But I've got 2 cards that are basically the same size. I actually think that the other one, the PSA one's considerably. It's like 30%, 25% larger. So here's that DiMaggio.
I gotta
see
if I can get you.
Okay, so let's not even worry about the glare. Let's just go with size. Oh my god, I'm so terrible with this.
It's okay, you're fine.
But then here's the Dan Brothers in 173, and
it's bigger.
The card's much bigger, but look how much smaller the PSA slab is.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a big Butterfinger. I love the Butterfingers, and those are big.
The aesthetic of the slab, to me personally, has an effect in the way that it shows. I mean, I use let me go back to our slides here. I use the example with Orlando. Orlando got the Willie Mays Hires root beer with the tab, and he sends it in with SGC. I mean, beautiful card, but for a card that's slender to have such immaculate framing to it with the black frame and the case, it really just kills the aesthetic of it. And
I agree.
A PSA has the advantage in the sense that they could slab things in a much better way to make it more appealing to look at.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to take away anything from Orlando. From Orlando, the card is fantastic, and that is the focal point. That is the focus. But I can't help but see that
It's like when you go to the Louvre and they've got like a really, really famous, a beautiful painting, and it's like maybe like a foot by a foot, but it's got like a 8-inch wide frame all the way around it that kind of engulfs it.
Yes.
At first, you notice that you're like, that looks weird, but then you start focusing on the part that's important, and the other thing kind of just fades away. You don't even notice it anymore.
Right. And John 3D80s kid brought up a great point. Once you get past exhibit card or postcard size for SGC, once you get into that realm of, the R312s, the R311s, the Butterfingers, those larger, picture packs, it gets obnoxiously big. And I've sent to PSA twice in my life, and I'm considering going again with some of that larger oversized stuff if I do in fact want to get it graded. But like the Cash-ins and the wide pen, the Gaudi wide pens, they look great in the SGC case. They look fantastic.
I'm glad we covered this topic because that's been a burning topic for me for a little bit. Because I collect a lot of oversized stuff, so it definitely hits a certain chord. Let's go to the next slide here.
Beautiful card.
Beautiful card. I have his hands at chest. Let me rephrase. I have both. I had his hands at chest, and I loved it. Like when I first started getting into the T206s, I like I said before, I liked the backgrounds. I liked all that. Then I kind of shifted. Oh, I really like the portraits. Now I'm kind of going back to I really like the background. So big surprise, I like them all. But this one, I've always liked this card for a couple of reasons. One, I don't think Walter Johnson was a redhead, but he kind of looks like one in this.
Right.
It also, I like the Ruth, the Green Gaudi Ruth. He looks like a pig. I think that's awesome. This, he looks like he's like 6. Right? It looks like a little kid that like borrowed somebody's painter's jacket, right? So I think it's just a super cool image. Plus, again, it's an iconic card, and I don't want to come across like that's the reason I would buy it. But when I buy cards that, for me, let's not even call it iconic, it's nostalgic. When I was a kid, if I saw this card at a card show when I was a kid, I was like, wow, that would be a really cool card to have someday, right? As I'm like, hey, is there any 89 tops done Mattingly's for sale?
Right.
So so being able to pick these up, it's not, I say iconic, but to be honest with you, for me, it's more all the cards in my collection, I buy them more or less because they're nostalgic. Now, like everybody else, like I could be influenced. I bought that Bull Durham card during a live stream, actually, because I was influenced. And there's other cards I bought because I wasn't aware of them. And being on YouTube, I've learned about them. There's some very obscure sets out there that I wasn't familiar with. So I will buy stuff because of that. And it is more because it's an iconic card. But a lot of these, I say they're iconic. That might not be the right term. I think it's more nostalgic. I see these and it reminds me of when I was a kid going to shows with my dad and my brother and just saying, wow, like that would be so cool to have someday. And, I've been lucky with, my career and family and stuff. And it allows me to pick up some of the stuff that I wanted. But at the end of the day, I buy a lot of these just because when I look at them, I stop thinking about 3 teenagers, car insurances, and tuition coming up and all that other shit. And I look at this and it brings me back to my childhood and lets me relax a little bit.
Yeah, I'm on the tail end of that. I'm on the tail end of that. So tuition's hit, but all that other
congratulations.
All that other stuff has gone bye-bye. So, and then my running joke is once you girls are making more than me, guess what? You're paying that tuition. Not
right.
me.
Oh, totally. So, I'm like, one of the kids is going to have to let me live in their basement someday.
Right.
Cool, man. Let's bring the next one up.
I love it. In a 5. That's insane.
Yeah, so I'm a big Nat Turner fan, and this looks like Nat Turner, so that's why I wanted to get it. No, I'm kidding. No, actually, I am Nat Turner. I actually dig Nat Turner, so that I didn't mean anything against him. I didn't buy it because it looks like him, but it does look like him, doesn't it?
A little bit,
yeah.
It's kind of like the Johnson, right? It's a card to me that I remember seeing as a kid. It is an iconic card in the hobby. That background's great, right? Like the fire sunset,
beautiful.
The gradients,
cool. It frames out the image well, and yeah, it's most of the other ones in the collection. They're fun cards to look at. You're sitting around, you're like, damn, today at work sucked. And then you pull some out of a case and you're like, ooh, what was I thinking about? I don't remember, because this card's sweet, right?
It's pretty epic, man.
Sammy, you have it as well, don't you?
I do, of course. Yeah, mine is what is it? 2.5? I thought it's a 3. Yeah, 2.5.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I got mine I traded up with B Roth. That's like one of the few times where I have upgraded, just because I ended up seeing the one that B Roth had. His was increased, mine was. Both had good centering, but the one that Brian had was just a little, it was better. So I have no regrets.
I think if my,
I am drooling.
I believe if my budget wasn't already spoken for, I love his T205. That was going to be the target at Strongsville.
The T206.
No, T205. I love the Matty T205.
We're coming up.
Yeah, no, it's a great card. I actually almost bought one in Strongsville last year, but the vendor was selling a 3 for a 6 price, and I asked him if he could come down, and he said no. And I said, your price is high, and he said, based on what? And I said, comps. And he said, why are you bringing up comps? Right. I'm like, because I'm buying something and I don't like to overpay. He said, but how do you base your comp? I said, well, your T205 is a 3 and a higher end 3 sells for this, and you're selling it for what a 6 sells for. And he said, it looks like a 6. And I said, good, I'm glad you said that. You have this other card in here that's a 4 that looks like a 2. Can I get a 2 price on it? And he stared me down, and one of my buddies was like, it's time to walk away. All right. So, but yeah, I agree. The T205, the image on the T205 is awesome. But you know what? Yeah. Let's not worry about that now. We could catch up on that later.
Right.
I think
my bad. I'm jumping the gun.
I think that's next, actually. Oh, no, it's not next. Okay.
Awesome.
So this one, I think, so I will say this. I don't have a ton of authentic cards in my collection. I love this one because it's authentic because of the paper loss. Maybe it's trimmed. I don't care. But there's paper loss, but it's right on the white border. The paper loss doesn't actually like get into the orange. So I just thought that was like perfect. Okay, great. It has a great image. And that's the way I went. And, like Tony said, it's, University of Tennessee orange. So that's super important.
No wonder he loves it.
But no, this again, I'll admit this. This is an influence card. I wasn't super familiar with the E98 set, right? The anonymous set. And somebody who I have a lot of respect for their collecting and their knowledge, Dave Blue Jacket, he did a video and showed his rainbow of the E98s. And I was like, wow, that's a sweet card. And I don't think I'll ever get the green or the blue. And the red ones at the time, the prices started to like jump up a little bit for them. And just like the Jackie Robinson 52, my friend Ash had this one, and I reached out to him, and he gave me somewhat of a deal on it.
I mean, when it comes to pre-war cards, especially of this caliber, grades, cards that come back authentic, I mean, you have to kind of just go by the wayside on that a little.
Right. I mean, these cards were cut by like, pretty antiquated technology, right? They weren't using like lasers to cut these things. So when they're like minimum size not met, it's like, cool. So it was like some guy, drinking some vodka with some scissors, cutting these things out in his office, right? Like he might have missed the line, the little dotted line for the cutout. And if it's off, it doesn't take away from the fact that the card is legit and is awesome. And even if somebody did trim it, like, cool, it's got, and maybe it is. Now that I look at it in such a high definition image, the top might be trimmed. Those corners are like kind of too sharp, but that's fine. I don't care. I just love the image, and I could care less again what the grade is, because to my eye, it looks nice.
It's a tough card. And I mean, whether it's a 5 or an authentic, people would kill to have it. So it's, any way you look at it.
Yeah, and like Orlando says, A equals awesome price. 100% agree. Because if this card wasn't A and it got like, say it didn't have the little paper loss, and it got like a 2 or a 3, I wouldn't be showing it right now because I wouldn't own it.
Yep, I love it. To me, that, and I throughout time, and you keep saying, oh, you know, I've been, you know, I like to look at it as being inspired, right? Part of being on YouTube is, and dealing with all the friends that we have and dealing with the people that we know, you're learning about stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not that you're influenced. It's, hey, I really like that. Let me go check this out. You learn more about the set and you say, all right, what can I afford? This is what I can afford. And this is what I'm getting. Mm-hmm. And it's beautiful. It's after that card is beautiful. So, I mean, what the heck? That means very little to nothing to me.
Exactly. Cool.
Right. A equals affordable. Right?
That's right. Exactly right. And my other thing is, I joke, a couple of friends that you guys know, Aaron, Value Vintage. My running joke is find it in a Beckett slab for the win because it's going to be cheaper. You know,
right, yeah,
I mean,
totally.
I don't even care. It's the plastic. If the card looks good, you know, save a couple bucks by getting it in a Beckett slab.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree. So here you go, Jason.
Yeah, there it is.
We were talking about this one, yeah.
So this one, I think that out of every image in pre-war cards, I have to say his, not the whole, like the background and stuff, right? But his likeness in this card has to be one of my favorite of any pre-war card. I just think that's such a great image of him. And, you know, the American League cards from the set, they have like the diamond and they have like other stuff and it kind of shrinks the image. I like the fact that not only is it a great image of Christy Mathewson, but because he was on the Giants, it's a National League card and you get a bigger image of him on it, right? And it's the gold border. So, you know, chipping or corners on it, you know, they're very prone to have issues. I was really happy with how the general borders were on this. Obviously the corners, as you can see, have a little bit of white, but the borders themselves I thought were pretty clean. And, you know, it's nicer than the one I saw at Strongsville that the guy wanted, that even today, a year later, I paid thousands less for this than what he wanted for his 3 last year. That wasn't this nice.
Right. And that's, you know, the patience that you don't have, that's part of it though, right? I mean, you found something.
I know. So at Strongsville, if anybody's there and they're like, hey, Darren doesn't seem to be buying anything and they want me to give my advice on the eye appeal, grab me and I'll give the dealer a hard time.
Definitely going to have to do that. And what's great about Strongsville is that we can easily do that because I can just overlook the entire show and see, oh, Darren's over there.
Right.
Exactly. And to be honest with you, that worked out really great last year. I almost bought a 34 Gaudy Garrick, the yellow one, and it was a 3. And I was like, it doesn't look great for a 3, but I wasn't sure. And Andrew Nuffsaid was there. So I went over and asked him, hey, guy, do me a favor. Can you take a look at that table over there? There's a yellow Gaudy. Take a look at it. It's a 3. I don't know if I think it's a very good 3. He walked over, looked at it. He walked away. I caught up with him a minute later and he's like, no, don't do it. And that was super helpful. And then I almost bought a what I thought was an incredibly rare Cobb, and Dave Blue Jacket came over when the lady turned around at her table and was like, no, it's not as rare as you'd think. It's overpriced. So I was like, oh, thank you. You just saved me from making a really big mistake because that would have been the only card I bought if I had bought it. So it's, and that's something that's great, right? Like, I don't know. I know like 2% of what some of these guys know. So like for me, I learned a lot talking to all of them. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that's what I like about Strongsville is you could always find the person because you could, like you said, you could just look up and see them, right? I mean, Sammy can. Sammy's tall, man. He just looks up,
right.
Everybody.
Sammy,
but yeah, I mean, it is easy to find. It is honestly like you do get some connectivity. You could text them and they're within like, you know, 30 seconds away, right? So that's the great about Strongsville. But yeah, no, I'm super happy with this Matty because it hit on all the pieces I want to hit on with it from an eye appeal perspective. And I actually bought it, even when I got this one, it was less than what I had budgeted for it. So
that's awesome.
When
you can do that, that's perfect.
Let's see what we got. We got 2 more, I think. That's pretty amazing.
That was my first, I think that was my first purchase at Strongsville last year. So at Strongsville, there's a card I really, really wanted. It's like the primary card I went there for. I've told the story a million times, but for some, like the 2 people that are on here that haven't heard it, you get to hear it. So everybody else, sorry. Got there, wanted this very specific card, went to every single vendor, asked them. A couple of them are like, yeah, I got it. I just didn't bring it with me. I'm like, why the F didn't you bring it with you? Because that card is sick. It's sicker than some of these other ones. But they're like, I'm like, well, give me your number and I'll call you. And then they'll be like, you know what? Maybe I sold it. I'm like, ugh. So I was super cranky the first day. And oh yeah, thank you, Greg. I did buy the 53 Tops Jackie from Don at the trade night, not really trade, but that first night.
Right. Right.
So this was my first purchase at physically on the ice rink. Yeah, thank you, Greg. Greg is my interpreter. So I bought this one. A good friend of mine said, "Hey, look, until you buy something, you're going to be pissed. So just buy something, like break the seal." And I'm like, okay. So Ash had this card, and I negotiated with his nephew, which don't do that. The kid's a good negotiator. So I might have overpaid a little bit, but I think it's a great image. I love these black and white images on a lot of these caramel cards because it's very gritty, right? Like you see the way, like these guys weren't making, $20 million a year and had like, somebody picking their outfits for them and like getting massages after every game. Like these guys had dirty uniforms. They probably didn't take baths every day. So like, they have like, a little bit of like grime on them from the day before. Like I like these images because it really kind of lets you get a good feel for what it was like back then versus like a T206, right? Like the Cobb green, right? That's a portrait. Like that's not what he would look like after playing the game, right?
Right.
Something like this, like you get a feel like Walter Johnson, right? His T206, it's like he's 3 years old. This one, this is obviously 12 years later, or 13 years later, but it really, I love these images because it really gives you a feel for what it was like back then.
Yeah.
For these guys, right? Like a lot of these guys, I guess by 22, these guys were like professional and that was their only job. But back in the day, right, these guys were like miners and farmers and all this other stuff. And then they played baseball too, right? So I just think it's a great image. It kind of brings you back to what I think it was probably like. I wasn't alive back then. I don't know, but I have to imagine, it was grittier. It wasn't as clean, everything else. So I just think it's a cool image because to me, it's like historic, right?
Well, the thing is, the big takeaway, and you learn this when you read like the Glory of Their Times. They talk immensely about Walter Johnson, and the one thing you're seeing here in this card are how long his arms are. His arms are so long, and you could say part of the reason why for his success was the length of his arms and how he's able to manipulate his pitches so well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this card does such a great job showing how big of a guy he was and how long his arms are.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I might fall in the minority. I know, I love the T206s, the T205s. I love all the E90s. I'm a sucker for an actual image. Black and white is my jam. I love it. It's an actual image of the person at that moment in time. So you get into the 20s with all of those sets, even the 30s. I mentioned Butterfingers Cash-In, but there are so many, the Gaudis, the wide pens, the play balls. I love those cards. I absolutely love them.
So we got the last one. Yes.
Great card.
This is a card I actually went to Strongsville to get, and nobody had it. And then I went to the National to get it, and I thought nobody had it. And Orlando and I were looking at the case, and my dad was there, and Orlando and I were looking in the case, and my dad was like, "Yeah, that's a cool card." And I'm like, "Which card?" He goes, "The one you're staring at." I'm like, "Which one?" And he pointed at it, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is a card I've been looking for like a year and a half in front of my face." So yeah, I was just super excited to get it. And it was fun to buy this one because I asked the guy, I said, "Look, you're asking this, can you do this?" And he's like, "Oh, it's a tough card. There's not very many of them." I'm like, "I get that. Can you come down a little bit? Can you get this?" He said, "Sure." And Orlando's like, "Oh, you could find these all over the place." And the guy's like, "All right, fine." And he gave me a deal. And as soon as I had the card and he had the money, Orlando's like, "Oh yeah, that's such a great card. It's so rare." I'm like, "I know." And the guy's like, look at us. I'm like, "All right."
So the wingman. So
Orlando was a solid wingman in that negotiation. That's amazing. Yeah, no, I love this card. I love this card. So I think it's obvious why I love this card, but I might love it for a different reason than other people. But for me, I love this card because you've got end of your career Lou Gehrig. He might have been starting to get a little ALS by this point, which it's sad. And then you have looks like a teenager Joe D, right?
Right.
And as far as I know, And I know we've got who we have on here still, right? We got, okay, Orlando's here, Mangini's here. Good. Rick's here. I think, maybe I'm wrong, this is the only Playing Days card that has Gehrig and DiMaggio on it, I think. Am I wrong?
That I know of. I think you're correct. That I know of. I know there's a Gaudy where DiMaggio's with somebody else, but it's not Gehrig, and it's a 38. I think you're right. I think you're correct.
Mangini said yes. There we go. Thank you, John. So that's why I love this card. I mean, I love this card, right? I like multiplayer cards, right? You got some of the, the cards from the 60s that'll have like Aaron and Mays and Clemente. Like, I think that's super cool. This, it was a very tight timeline to make that happen. And
right.
I just think that's great because I play or collect both of those guys. My Gehrig collection's it's not very robust yet, but my DiMaggio collection is getting there, and this is the one card with both of them on, and I think that this is I think it's great. And yeah, like Greg pointed out, there's one for sale right now, and I think I keep an eye on them. I see these before I bought it. When I first was like, I really want this card, I saw a couple for sale on eBay. I'm like, oh, okay, so it's not uncommon. I didn't buy it, and then all of a sudden I'm like, crap, this thing's super hard to find. I've noticed now you might see like one or two a year come up for sale.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit tougher than most people perceive. It's a tough card to find.
Mm-hmm. And I've had some people, when I talk to them about it, they're like, oh, an exhibits card, the oversized card, it's a forum. I'm like, yeah, whatever, it's cool. Like, none of that even matters to me. I don't care about who's on it. Well, I do care about who's on it. I don't care about the type of card. I don't care about the condition of the card. I don't care about what slab it's in. And, obviously, yeah, like John said, right? You also have Gomez and Tony Lavender, right? So like
4 Hall of Famers.
Yeah, great guys. But to me, it's like having the one card that's a Playing Days card with 2 of my favorite players of all time on it. This was the card I wanted. And when they didn't have this thing at Strongsville, man, I was cranky. I was a little bitch, man. I was so bad.
What cracks me up is the bias to oversize and multiplayer cards, and you're talking to the wrong 2 guys. Sammy's an oversized guy. I'm an oversized guy. Like,
and what's funny is I'm typically not an I do like multiplayer cards with the right players on it. I'm typically not an oversized guy. I'm getting more into it, but historically I haven't been. But there's so many, and that's the thing too, right? I've learned this because I learned this from watching John Mangini's videos. I used to have kind of like, I box in the types of cards I'd want, and watching his videos showing all kinds of different cards, different sizes, different shapes, different everything. I'm like, you know what? Like, who cares what any of that is if it's got the image that you want to see on it? And Jayhawker, mine is too.
Yeah, so is mine.
And that's what I love about the hobby, right? Like for me, and again, I'm newer-ish. I used to collect when I was a kid. I stopped collecting from when I was like 14 to when I was 40. So big gap there. Got back into it. When I got back into it, I remembered the cards. I remember the cards that, from when I was a kid, and I bought a lot of those right when I got back into the hobby. But, for me, there might be some of these cards that I showed tonight where people are like, yeah, I've seen that card. For me, I learned a lot about half of these I learned about fairly recently, because I'm kind of a novice when it comes to what's out there. And I just dig learning about stuff, right? Like, here's another example. I bought that, the Bull Durham E97 when I was on the live stream when John invited me to that, and I got a little OCD, and I'm like, I think, and again, question to the guys that know way more about this than I do. I picked this up recently. This is the Bull Durham's T206 card. Picked this up the other day. Do I have the complete set of Playing Days Bull Durhams now, or is there something else out there that I don't know about?
Check that registry. If those 2 cards are the only ones on there, you're good to go.
Is there a Bull Durham registry? I didn't even know there would be.
I don't even. There's a registry for everything.
Probably so.
Have you dipped your toe, Darren, in even some of the more, shame on me for saying it, oddball stuff. Like some of the Wheaties panels, like the Gehrig Wheaties panels are phenomenal.
I thought, yeah. So one of the cards that I really like is the Butterfingers Gehrig.
Yeah, beautiful card. Beautiful.
I do like that a lot.
His cash-in is beautiful too. If you like the 29 cash-in set, beautiful card.
Yeah, Dan, I know his name's not Bull Durham. I talked about that in my video. He actually, I can't remember his name, but he changed it to Bull Durham because he had a buddy that was Durham, and they thought he named it after him. They actually interviewed his daughter or granddaughter and said no, he loved Bull Durham tobacco so much that he changed his name to that, because there was a rumor that he got into like a fight and he got banned and he changed his name, and that's not even true. He just was like, man, I love these cigarettes so much, I'm the Marlboro man now. That's my name.
So based on that, is Sammy's name isn't really Sammy Thunder? I did not know that.
Oh, so I'm looking at Bull Durham's name is Louis Raphael Staub.
Yep, Louis Staub. Yep.
That's Rusty's grandfather.
right.
Exactly.
I don't know. Probably not. But yeah. And actually, it's funny. The Wikipedia page uses his T206 portrait.
Yep.
As the image. So pretty
cool.
So
the $1 million question, if willing to share, I always tell everybody, are you looking for anything specific in Strongsville?
No, I'm not. So I typically go into shows with a list, and that has worked well for me. I'm at the point now where, there are still some cards that are gold cards. Some of them are a little pricier. So, I'm not going to buy those at Strongsville. I just don't have the budget for it right now. So I'm going to try something new and just say, I'm going to walk around and see what they've got, and I'm going to pick some stuff up. Right. And I'm open to changing it up a little bit too. Right. I mentioned this to Greg when we were chatting recently. I definitely am interested in some vintage football and vintage basketball cards too. So there might be, something new, from that space. Right. And, I had we did the live stream with Tony and Greg a couple of weeks ago, last week. I can't remember. Yep. Time's flying. And, Greg pointed out that, the Beecher football card, that could be a good, dip my toe into football. And I said, you know what, that's a sweet card. Probably not a good dip the toe in, but it could be a, dive full head first into, if there's one there, potentially that. I really like the Sports King, Jim
Red
Thorpe.
Grange.
The Grange and the Thorpe. I like both of those cards a lot.
Yeah.
What else? It's probably, I'm not going to find one in my price range there, I don't think, but I do like the Bowman Mikan.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Great card.
I want the Chamberlain rookie. I really want the Bill Russell rookie, but I think those might be like next phase. But yeah, no, I don't have anything in particular. I'm just going to see what, yeah, exactly. I'm dipping my toe in with the Mikan. Exactly. Look, I feel like if I was, I'm not, it's somebody else asked me if I was interested in the Bronco Nagurski. I'm like, nah, that's not a dipping the toe. That's like slamming my head into the wall.
Right.
So, but no, there's definitely some interesting stuff out there, and I'm not going with the plan, because I learned this last year. If I go with the plan and the plan doesn't happen, I get cranky. I don't want to do that. I don't want to set the wrong impression. I think people think that I'm whiny and stuff. No, I'm going to go and just see what they have. And, I got a lot of my buddies there. I'll say, guys, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? You guys give me your feedback. And, if I get the card, cool. If I'm looking around and somebody picks it up, whatever, there'll be other stuff. So I'm going a little bit less structured, which isn't my style. I'm trying something new, take some Xanax and then go listless. Right? We'll see how that goes.
They're going to be super chill the entire weekend.
Right.
That's the plan.
You'll be way too mellow, and we're going to be concerned.
Right. Like, why is Darren sleeping on the floor? Like, I'm tired, guys.
That has been my mentality.
Bernie's, man.
That's my mentality at every show. I never go to a show with the target.
And to be honest with you, because I'm not going with the plan, I like this for another reason. And to be honest with you, I am excited to walk around with everybody and watch them buy stuff, And I'm finding this now as I'm paying for really expensive shit for my kids as they get older.
Right.
You know, it's not all about me getting stuff. It's also the enjoyment I get from other people getting stuff that they want, to be honest with you. And I am actually quite excited to walk around with everybody. And honestly, last year I was cranky because of that Garrett DiMaggio card, but this year, no, like I'm looking forward to walking around. If I don't get anything, that's okay.
Right.
I just want to hang out and see what people get. Like I get a lot of joy out of seeing my friends get excited about picking up cards.
No, that's the whole point. Like, you know, my budget's pretty much spoken for, so I'll be doing the same thing. So if anyone needs assistance, Darren and I can help assist in looking at cards.
There you go.
The buying isn't going to be real heavy for me either at this point.
Right. If you want a quasi-blind guy giving you some eye appeal advice,
Right.
I'm your man.
And the best part is if we're not buying, that just means we're drinking more. So by the time we're looking at your cards, we might be half in the bag. So
Do they let you bring liquor in there?
I don't think so. I thought they sold.
So I need
beer.
a flask. All right, I'll bring a flask
Right.
of bourbon. You can try some
Yeah.
bourbon while walking around.
I'll get my
They
tall
have the
bourbon
snack
at that
bar, but
point.
I don't think they're serving beer there.
No,
Okay.
I thought they did last year. No, Sammy, am I
I
wrong?
can't
No, they had
remember.
like they had the snack bars and they had like hot dogs and chips and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, but it was, you know, it's like a hot dog that's been sitting there for. You know.
Right. Yeah. It's like, oh,
Right.
we'll wipe the mold off it and drop it back in boiling water.
It walked away.
It's a hot dog. That's what it's designed for. It's designed to live forever.
Right. That and spam.
We'll see. But I'm gonna have you guys are both coming on Sunday for the
Yes.
the Four Collectors live stream before. Or we're going to be doing a lot of stuff, but I think the last live stream before Strongsville.
Right.
Gonna be a bunch of us on there. Greg's going to be there. Patty's going to be there. You guys will be there. So it's going to be a good group.
Well, I thought about this, Sammy, and you know, Four Collectors has got the poll. John 3D80's kid, if he's still on, he can listen, and I know Theo's, if he's watching this as well. I was talking to my wife, and I said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna do Cardboard and Cold Ones live, and we're gonna be at the hotel."
That's right, we're doing it.
Right, and then I saw Mike Moynihan and Chris from Missouri are doing their show live, which is
on a Friday. Yeah.
Right. So in my head, I'm like, man, it might benefit the show to like section off a little area for YouTubers for them to sit down and just kind of, you know, it's almost like the ripping area or the breaking area at the National, right? I know the show's much smaller, but if you could just get like a little area and people could cover the show live for these people, and there's enough of us there where someone's going to do it.
I mean, if you guys want to try something different, you could always throw on some ice skates and do the show live on the ice rink upstairs.
Right, my fat ass would be on the ground so quick.
Listen, man, I saw that video that Mike Moynihan did, and him barely being able to get on the ice. That did not inspire me at all.
Right. I'd look like a beached whale flopping around on ice if I did. It would be ridiculous.
So I think I'm going to take a hard pass on getting on the rink. Concrete is fine with me.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Well, listen, this is great.
Yeah, thanks guys for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's always fun to do lives and come on and chat with everybody. I appreciate you having me on.
That's awesome. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, and the whole scans and showing the cards that way has been a real big success. So that's been really helpful to kind of go through that. But yeah, like I mentioned, you know, we're gonna all be on the Four Collectors live stream on Sunday with Greg, Tony, Petty, Jay from Average Vintage Cards. I have the list here. I'm just trying to see.
I didn't even know that. Wow, you're bringing out everybody.
Yeah, well, we can max out with as many as 9 people. Warren D is going to be there. I'm waiting for Chris to get back to me. You got to have the mayor on,
right?
And that's going to be all 9 of us. So that's going to be.
You got to send a pigeon carrier for Chris. He doesn't know this technology stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you got to. I think that's going to get there faster than a text message will. So,
right. They'll respond quicker.
The way to go. And like I mentioned, next Thursday we're going to be doing it live in the lobby, and who knows who's going to show up. I guess that's going to be the case. So we'll see. But thanks, guys, so much. Have a great rest of your night. We'll see you on Sunday.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for watching.